Good morning, everyone. This is Jeff with Epic Decon. I was talking to a lady yesterday who had been a victim of a flood loss in her property, and she was recounting to me her experience with some of the mitigation companies. And me being a mitigation company as well as trauma company, I am very well aware of some of the practices that happen. Occasionally you will be victimized by a mitigation company, restoration company, because they want to capitalize as much as they can on the insurance coverage, which we all want to make money, right? We want to be smart. We want to make, and sometimes and often the insurance companies will refute our claims and try to cut our tickets down by, sometimes even up to 50 or 60%. So it's common practice for us really to try to fortify our invoices and estimates. However, there's some things that you could be aware of to protect yourself, because when it's all said and done, here's how the flow is. You and the insurance company have an agreement. You and your mitigation company have an agreement. Mitigation company and insurance company do not have an agreement, typically. So, when you have a loss and you call your insurance company and they say, ooh, let us send our preferred vendor. Okay? Their preferred vendor is a contractor that they give volumes of work to in exchange for reduced pricing. So that reduced pricing from the preferred restoration mitigation contractor translates into, let's cut some corners. Let's do things partially. So you, as the property owner, sometimes are victimized by practices that aren't complete or in adherence to common industry standards that we use to dry mitigate your structure. So one of the common things that I see is a contractor will come out and they will only partially demolition an area and not pull out all the wet materials. They need to be doing pinprick moisture reads to commonly assess the drying process. Okay? If they don't do moisture reads and have documentation to prove it, photos, they're not doing something correctly. If they just use thermographic kind of imagery, I'm talking about like FLIR, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So that's not always the best indicator. It looks cool, and I have the technology too, I use it, but really to get in and touch the building material, the sheetrock, the flooring, the insulation, the studs, we need to see if those are dry or not. So there needs to be a record of that, documentation, photographic proof. The other thing is sometimes they will come in and they will put dehumidifiers and drying fans and air scrubbers, and they're doing all this work. And if the homeowner, the property owner, is not aware of what's going on, these items can be left weeks, and sometimes even months. And you're not realizing that's all coming back on you as the property owner. If the insurance company denies it, they're coming after you. They can put a lien on your property. So you need to kind of understand best practices and not to be victimized and be stuck in the end by someone who's coming after you with an obscene bill. Are you going to know what an obscene bill is? Probably not, because I mean it runs the full gamut. Sometimes your moisture loss on a property is catastrophic. Sometimes it's gone through multiple levels, and there could be tens of thousands of dollars just in mitigation costs. However, if you will just take note and have good ongoing dialogue with whomever you choose to do your drying, if they're putting dehumidifiers and fans for an extended period of time and they don't come back, they don't check these things, and it's there for weeks and weeks and weeks, they're racking up a bill. They're charging daily For example, a dehumidifier might be 85 to 100 bucks a day. A drying fan could be 30 to 40 bucks a day. An air scrubber could be, that's used typically for cleaning out the air after mold or dust or demolition or odors. Those can be around 125 a day. So when you see multiple units in your property for days and days and days and days, it's kind of fishy to me, because typically when I go into a property and I have a loss, I put enough machines there to get the job done in somewhere between 3 and 5 days. And in the interim, I'm coming back, I'm checking the moisture readings, I'm looking at the humidity levels in the room, I'm checking the moisture levels on the walls or the floors to make sure it's drying. And I document it with photographs. That way, if anybody ever comes back and says, hey, that property wasn't dry, I say, yes, it was. Here's the proof. Here's the pictures of the readings. Now, some companies will keep what they call drying logs. They're just typed in words. They don't mean squat, because anybody can type in anything, right? You want photographic proof of actual measurements being taken on the property that you can verify is your property, okay? And understand that you need to question these things. If you see lots of machinery and it's running, it's noisy, it's hot, and that's all part of the process. But if it's there past 5 days, you need to question the mitigation company. Why is it still here? How do we know this isn't dry? This needs to be stopped. Am I paying for this? If you're paying for this, and you are, in one way or the other, you need to kind of understand best practices, and that there should be a limit, and there should be a contractor that's taking interest in a start and a stop to this mitigation process. You don't want to see machinery running for weeks and weeks and weeks or months, because the only situation I can think of really where it would run for an extended period of time is maybe you have a hole in your roof. Moisture is coming into the internal environment of the structure, and a contractor hasn't been engaged yet, or insurance hasn't approved yet to get someone to put on a new roof or whatever, and so there's still moisture coming inside from the outside, right? Especially if it's rainy outside, they could put a dehumidifier in there to stabilize the environment, to control it. But if you've got no holes in your roof and your walls are intact and your windows are intact, and for the most part, you know, if you've had a leak and the plumbers come out and they fixed it, there's no further moisture intrusion, that should take place. That drying should be able to take place in 3 to 5 days. So just protect yourself. Understand that you know, you are responsible ultimately for that bill. Just because they talk about insurance, if the insurance kicks it back, the contractors come after you. Pay attention to those work authorizations that you sign, those contracts that you sign. Read the fine print. Question. Obviously, don't be obnoxious. Nobody likes that, but question what's going on, and safeguard yourself. So, any other questions? You guys are more than welcome to, you know, reach out to me. I'm happy to, you know, just kind of fill in the blanks if you need another third-party advice, or if you want me to come to your structure, take moisture readings, whatever. I'm happy to work with you, or just call us to begin with. Okay? I have your best interest at heart. I do want to make money, but I want to do so in a way that takes care of you, is not abusive to the insurance policy, and that I have a good reputation, because, you know, that's what it's about. It's about relationships, and it's about being able to work in your community with a good reputation, right? So again, Jeff Atwood, EpochDecon, EpochDecon.com. That's our website. I'm here to help you with water damage, flood, drying, mold remediation. Obviously, my partner and I both come from healthcare. The wife, who's the owner of the company, she comes from healthcare. We can do forensic cleaning, whether it's infection control from these viruses, or there's some sort of loss from a trauma, a suicide, a homicide, things like that. Also odor control. Sometimes things happen within a structure. A real estate agent or an investor buys a property and there's an existing odor. Or even maybe there were squatters there. If they did drugs, had a meth lab, we've cleaned those up too. So either way, there's a lot of ways that we can be of assistance to you. Thanks for listening to this. I know it's a little bit lengthy, but just kind of consumers beware and ask a lot of questions. Thanks.